Avery County swimming. Osborne went with us. David Spicer and went with myself. I believe that was all that went on this trip. The people in Avery were very, very nice to us. They showed us, we had a very good visit with the pool. They showed us around all the different aspects of what they had built about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5. And we took some pictures, and we've also used Avery. Avery's had a small video done of their pool when it was dedicated. So I think Drew's got this slide presentation, and we'll go through it. And Bill, you jump in anytime that you see something that you want to comment on. Okay, Drew. This was the first thing that we saw were these lockers, and these people in Avery said they had too many lockers. They don't utilize more than half of them. So that would be something that we would not consider that many lockers. That would save some money. They have different showers. Also, I think on this one, you can see the floor is a solid poured floor out of polyurethane. It's a non-skid floor, plus it goes up about 6 or 8 inches on the side, which will keep any water from getting into the cinder blocks. And the cinder blocks are also painted with that. It's a waterproofing process to keep water from leaking in to the foundation. They have numerous facilities to wash your hands, mirrors, all sorts of different amenities for the COVID. They have special soap dispensers. They had added a few of those when COVID started. I think that's something we would always look at just from the beginning. Next. These are back to the lockers. And that's about as many as they would suggest. Their population is roughly a little over 17 million. Our population's right at close to 11 million. So there's that difference in there.
I believe you mean that.
People, not population.
The what?
You're talking about
Avery's
people,
population.
right.
Their total population is about 17 million in their county. Ours is about 11 million.
17,000. 17,000, not
Yeah.
17 million.
No, not millions. Now, I'm wishing for them. I'm wishing. Now you get to the swimming pool. This is the outside area. This is a walk-down pathway. It starts out at literally no water. By the time you get to the very end of it, we're about, I think, about ankle deep, maybe a little bit deeper than ankle deep. So older people can walk into it. It's all non-skid. Go to the next slide, Drew. This is also part of the pool's back here, and they have all these tables around the outside of the pool, closer to the building itself for picnicking, eating, just places to sit. One thing that they recommended is more shade for their area. They're looking at putting in some areas that have shade in it. This part right here is a double slide for the kids to slide down. I think we've got a close-up later on of it. This is just a different view of the pool. This is the main building back here. This area is what they call a conference room or a party room. It holds, I think, about 70-some people. If you want to rent that room, you can rent it to have a party in. You can also rent where you can get the pool thrown in with the rent, so you can have a late night party with the pool, and it comes with 2 lifeguards. I believe that price was around $175 for 2 hours for the room and 2 lifeguards. Go ahead, Bill.
On the lanes, you see right there, that's the swimming lanes. That water's 10 foot deep on that end, across there. The lanes is 10 foot deep there where the lanes are, where they swim, their tryouts. Go ahead.
Go back, Drew, one picture a minute. There's a fence all the way around the swimming pool. I believe that's a requirement from your insurance and from the state. But it's very nice, and it's a high fence. It looks good. I think it fits in with the motif of the pool itself. Next. These are some of the control rooms. There's about, I believe there was 5 or 6 different rooms that they had the pumps in, the heaters in, the chlorine facility was in. All of the chlorine is put on a computer system. It checks itself to be sure the pH in the water is at the proper levels. And they also manually check at least twice a day just to be sure the computer is working properly. Next. This was the main entrance. You have one entrance where you come in and you check in. Then you go off to this is the party room, which is to this gentleman's left. It has sinks in it. They have a storage room in it. You see, storage room is right here, and that's full of tables and chairs, depending on how many people that you estimate will be coming to that event. And it also has an outside door that goes to the swimming pool. So if you rent that room and you rent the pool, then you just go right out from inside the party room to the pool. It was a very nice room. There again, all these floors are with that special flooring, and it does not allow water to seep through to the concrete below. Next. This is the slide for the children. They have a swimming pool, a diving board for the swimming pool, and that's a double slide for the youngsters. Go ahead, Drew, if that's the video.
Good morning, I'm the county manager for the city of Avery. We have everyone watching this video, we'll see you.
Thank you. In that brief video, they showed what I was consider almost a splash pad type thing for the younger kids, the diving board, the handicap accessibility. I think all around it was a very nice pool. It was well laid out. The county manager was very happy with it. He loved the architects that drew it up. That pool, at sometimes they have up to 400 people. The outlying schools bus in children. If you remember in the video, there was a school in the background. It's centrally located right in the town. Bill, have you got anything to add?
They said it was booked out through the summer, every night but Wednesday. They
Yes.
don't know that they don't open on Wednesday, but it was fully booked out for the whole summer for the parties and birthday parties and different kinds of events. That's you covered it pretty well.
I think they ran 4 lifeguard stations. They had, I think, 5 lifeguards on duty. One would have a rest period while the others were working. While on the rest period, he would check the pH or go around just a general observation of the pool area. So it did have several employees. They have in the summertime 2 full-time gentlemen that run the front office and keep everything going. All the lifeguards are CPR trained, lifeguard trained by the Red Cross, I believe they said. All around it was just a very, very nice experience. Parking lot outside was 72 or 74 spaces, and they had a lot of help on their parking lot from Soil and Water, helped design that, because I think the location where that school was, there was a lot of runoff of the water. So several agencies went together to bring that pool to life. And it's, I think, like I said our last meeting, it's one of those things, you build it and people will come to use it. It's like the Field of Dreams almost. And that was just a outstanding pool. I hope someday that Alleghany County could have something very similar to it. Bill?
Anybody have any questions for Bobby?
And I don't know if Randy's got any comments.
One thing we did not mention is the access to get into the pool is a no step down pool. It's pretty much at level. So when the kids or even maybe grandparents that wants to get in, they're not stepping down, they're not stepping up. You just basically walk in. Everything else I think you guys did cover. But we need to get things for our children and adults here in the county to do, because without the pool, we're kind of limited on what we can offer kids in the county. So, I've got.
I'm also on the Recreation Commission, and, it's going to take considerable funds to build this pool. Senator Ballard was able to give us $400,000, I'm sorry, and then we have some of the Beamer money left over, but, a pool like this is probably $3 million. So, we're looking into grants, we're going to make this a reality. And part of it too is finding the proper location for it, because we want it to be, centrally located. We want it to be, a usable place, because we want to make this, we don't want to halfway do this. We want to make it where it's going to be sustaining for a long time. So,
Anybody else? Thank you very much. Bob, you got a question?
What is the season for the pool?
Basic,
100 days.
April till normally first part of August, when school starts back. That was what we had done in the past, let me put it that way.
It's about 100 days, right? Close
And
to
I
it.
know, the other thing I did not mention is, one of the things Avery had mentioned about the party room and rentals, that pretty much stayed booked up. And I know we rent Lions Club and some of our places out now and we stay pretty busy with that. I can only, if we get something like that, we could really be busy. But
I believe Avery works about that 95 to 100 days on their pool. It does filter, it runs year-round. They keep the pumps going, they keep the water circulating year-round. When the wintertime comes, I believe they set the temperature down to around that 50-degree 40-something, 50-degree, so nothing will freeze up. Like Michelle said, it was 2 years ago, it was a little over $3 million. So you don't know right now. I think our next, you don't know what the cost will be right now, but the commissioner's next step will hopefully be to hire a firm that will come in and look at different locations. We've been working with the Wellness Center quite closely for the last few months. That's one possible location. But I think the next step is getting an expert in here to tell us the size, location, and give us some rough prices.
The questions?
I have some questions, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
It looks like we're going down a road on this pool, but I have a question of Avery. What is their daily census?
Well, he talked about the night a great deal, that they were booked up. He said it was very common to have 250 people there at nighttime for their parties and so forth. Do
was
you
the
remember
last
what the daily? I don't.
Right off here.
I do know the nights, the 4 nights a week, he said it was common for 200.
What was the last census for the daily visitors at the pool that we had?
I just have found that data. It took me a little bit, but it was 26. But what the, at that time, rec director said was they was having a lot of staffing problems, I guess, with lifeguards. So it wasn't open every day. So basically, I just took how many days we were open that month and averaged them out, and it came up to 26. I could find data back to about 2010, and we were 60 in 2010, and I think we normally stayed somewhere around 30 from 2010 to 2019 from what I could, the data that I had in office.
Now, your data shows, I'll take a high, 36. I've heard lower. You know I've heard lower, and you
Yeah.
have those figures
Yeah.
because I asked you to
Yeah.
present them.
Yeah.
What did we charge for entrance into the pool at that
Okay,
time?
the 12 and under was $1, and 13 and over was $2.
So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, $76 a day. We were paying, if I remember correctly, the pool guards, at that time, $12.50 an hour. The lifeguards,
Yes, probably so.
8 hours, $100 a day, so we weren't even breaking even. We aren't even talking about maintenance at that time. At that time, we were told that a lot of people were not attending our pool because they could go to Independence, they had a splash pad, they were even driving to Hickory.
I don't doubt that. I guess my point of it is, I think if we had a pool to that magnitude in this county that we're going to pull, we're going to be the ones pulling, And really, from a swimming pool standpoint, I've never known a swimming pool to make money. I mean, it's just not going to happen. But from a county standpoint of bringing people into the county, they got to eat and so on. We're still bringing people into the county, and maybe we're not seeing a profit from swimming pool in, but the businesses and the amount of people that we're getting in.
Are you making a justification to go to TDA for money yearly? On the basis of bringing in tourists?
I'm not necessarily speaking from the tourist standpoint. I mean, I guess they are if they're coming in from another town, but
I realize you're uncomfortable because I brought up the dollar amount, and I'm looking at it kind of at the business side. But what I've also got to look at, that we are now competing with Sparta's splash pad. Sparta didn't have a splash pad at that time, so now we've got an additional competition that's going to be there. The other thing that I've got to look at as a commissioner, because I have a fiduciary responsibility to this county.
absolutely.
38% of this county is over 65, and you aren't going to see that much sagging skin and gray hair up there.
You're probably right.
I don't think if we're comparing our old pool, which was nothing but water, there was no diving board, none of that there. We're comparing a Cadillac to a Volkswagen in this scenario.
And the other thing is, our pool was old.
It's old.
I mean, it was old and
Doesn't
probably
really
wasn't
come to
the nicest pool to absolutely go to at that time. Not throwing off on anybody,
It
but
also did not meet ADA standards, and that was one of the reasons why, as commissioners, we said we weren't going to reopen it because it was going to cost us too much to do the repairs and then turn around and make it ADA compliant. But this is election year. Thursday, election starts. The people that are going to pay for this pool needs to be aware of what we are looking at, because their property taxes, I don't think they're going to go down, especially whenever we're in a recession and the farmers are paying $3.50 or $5 a gallon for diesel. They're going to end up, they've got the good deal with current use. They're only paying 60% of their value. But that county manager is going to have to find the money to pay for the loan. We're going to have to borrow the money unless you've got it in your back pocket. And I don't think that this county's been authorized to print money lately, has it, Mr. County Manager? We will have to borrow the money at a time whenever interest rates are going up. Do we want to do that? The voters, to be quite frank with you, the voters are going to decide that during this election cycle. But and I'm surprised that we haven't had a discussion so that we could bring these areas up and go back and forth. It looks like it's a decision's already been made, which, if the majority of the commissioners have already expressed their support, that is the way it is. But thank you for the report is outstanding. Thank you for going up there and getting that. I think we may be putting the cart before the horse, but that is a discussion that we'll have. Thank you for your information, Randy.
Without having a political speech about the pool, pools do not make money. Our football fields do not make money. Our baseball fields do not make money. All of our softball fields, all these amenities that we have for the young people in the county, they don't make money. The county has a responsibility to provide certain services that are not always going to be a profit. I think that the swimming pool is one of those amenities that the young people have been clamoring for years. And I know that Avery looks at it through their county manager. They lose about $50,000 a year on that pool. So depending on the weather, how many people come, they charge $3 a day for their entry fee. I asked the county manager, why don't you charge more? And he says, you get a parent with 3 or 4 kids, you get a grandmother that's bringing their kids, they've got 4 or 5 kids, they can't afford $25 or $30 a day for an entry fee. So the county realizes, the county government of Avery realizes that they're going to have a loss factor in running that pool. And I think that goes through a lot of different programs that all counties provide for their citizens. This is just one more thing that will keep our young kids busy in the summer. It will give them something to do. It will keep the parents from traveling to Elkin, keep the parents from traveling to Independence or wherever. Not everything is measured by the pen and pencil at the end of the day. This is something that if those people that are on Facebook or the parents that come here, they're pushing for a pool. We haven't had that pool hasn't been open since COVID, since the earthquake destroyed a big part of it, damaged it. This is just something the county, I think, would benefit from.
I guess one of the things that I look at, if you look over the last 2 years, of the amount of folks that's moving into Alleghany County that's buying property with kids, you know, our numbers, I mean, if you strictly look at numbers that we've had in the past, which had no diving board, that I think we can increase taking the pool party and that out of it, just everyday attendance, I think would increase, not only from Allegany's standpoint, but it's like anything else. If there's something bigger and better, kids looking at it, bigger and better over here, that's where they're going to kind of
I think to Michelle's point also, that this money will not, 100% of it will not come from the taxpayers of the county. It will be through grants, it'll be through fundraisers, just like the hospital, how they improved. They had a very good fundraising project, and that's what it's going to take to make this pool a reality. It's just not the taxpayers' dollars. It's a lot of different entities coming together.
Well, between the Beamer money, and there's some recovery money in there that's a possibility also, but we also have, you know, hopefully citizens of the county that, you know, we can get a little bit of help on, and then hopefully we can get a grant that will offset some of that of not increasing taxes or anything else in the county. You know, like I said, I just feel like we're going to, you know, numbers that we had in the past is going to drastically improve just because we're new, we're bigger than anything we got around us. And we do, in one sense, I guess that is a little bit of a competition with Splash Pad. But, you know, the thing with Splash Pad, you're kind of focusing on one age group of kids, where the swimming pool, it's wide open. I mean, I look at it.
You know, rest assured that we, as the Recreation Committee, are going to do everything we can to save every dollar that we can. And, you know, we're going to look into every possible grant that there is out there, like Randy said, fundraisers. You know, we've got a few things in our favor. You know, we've already, if we do the Wellness Center property, you know, we've already got usable land in a parking lot there. If we do the plan that Avery has, then we're just looking at small tweaks, and we're hoping that we can save money on architectural drawings. We're looking at everything we can to save the money to build this pool. And, you know, what price do you put on the kids having something to do? I mean, that's the one complaint that I hear constantly is the kids don't have anything to do around here. So, you know, the pool is a missing piece of the puzzle that we really need. You know, we do have a pool at the wellness center, but, you know, it's a great pool, but, you know, there's just something to be said for being out in the sunshine and being exercise out in the sunshine. That's more of a lap pool and a competition pool. So, you know, this is a missing piece that I feel like our county really needs and is something that's really desired by a lot of people.
John?
Oh, yeah, these are valid questions, and I believe that should have been open debate and possibly put on the ballot. Let the voters decide they're going to pay for it. But, and I'd like to see a pool. I remember whenever I was young, we didn't have a pool. We got the pool because Edwin Duncan built it, gave it to us. But, you know, it hasn't been that long ago after the earthquake where we never even mentioned. It was not discussed building a new pool. It was simply close it because we couldn't afford to maintain it and to upgrade it to ADA standards. So it's going to be a good discussion in the future, whatever we started cussing and discussing, whenever the plans are presented. Plans are going to cost money. Do we want to go that route? The citizens will express their opinion. I respect that. If they want it, I have no problems with it. But we've got to go in it with our eyes open and realizing that somebody's got to pay the price. Thank you.
I'm finished with my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I got one little thing to add. There's a lot of things to look at here, and if you got kids up there swimming, maybe they're staying out of the dope business, you know, and staying straight, and there's a lot of benefits could come from something like this, and if you build something nice, people's gonna come from all around. If we just do a half job, they ain't gonna come. They're gonna stay where they are. It's that simple. Anyway, thank you, Randy. Thank you, Bobby, for the report. Moving on down, TDA, Mr. Steve Mason.
Thank you. Steve Mason with the TDA. If you wouldn't mind, I mean, could I make one comment in regards to what we were just talking about?
Go ahead.
I think the crux of the matter is, when you really get down to it, is I think what you're looking at is a state-of-the-art facility that you're planning to build that's going to cost. It's going to have an impact. It's going to have a huge impact in regards to how much it takes to build it. But then you also have to weigh the impact of what it costs you when you don't have the resources at your fingertips in your county. And I think the fact of the matter is I think the population in this county deserves a facility like this. And I think it will have an impact, broader scope than what you think is going to happen if you provide that kind of service. The one thing I think that you've got to look at too with that is in addressing that and being able to collaborate with the things that y'all are doing from the Recreation Committee. I think you're going to have opportunity to look at a lot of opportunity out there in resources to help produce this pool. So I think that's going to be an impact that the voters and the citizens of this county won't have to impact the cost of building the facility, but I think you will have to address the issues going on with the maintenance of it. So, yeah. So thank you for considering the Wellness Center in regards to some of the things that have been discussed. Just going real quick and shifting gears to looking at the quarterly report for the TDA. That first page that you've got there in your report, the year-to-date unaudited fund balance is $100,550,279. Then you look at previous year versus current year in revenue. There's a $16,354.43 difference to the good in regards to $67,000 versus $50,000 that was taken in so far in the first quarter, and we currently have $100,000 in a long-range fund balance. If you take a look at Exhibit A real quick, Exhibit A has got basically our fund balance sheet report, and you can see on that report of what our expenses were for so far. Our current revenue is 71,000, and then the 155 starting balance, which is unaudited. We will have the audit here shortly and be able to clarify that number. At the bottom, you see our obligated expenses that are still outstanding for the year, and then the long-range balance at $100,000, which leaves a available balance for us right now if you take the $100,000 out at 59,259. Okay. And then also, if you'll go to the revenue report, we just talked about that a minute ago. The difference in those two numbers is 16,354.43. And then on to the expense report, and the expense report is a two-page report there, and that is giving you the total expenses for the quarter with a quarter expense of $50,107, and that includes our grants that have been issued for the quarter. Your last Exhibit D is your grants that have been issued for 3-month period, and those would be to Sparta and Alleghany Volunteer Fire Departments. That was for the Fiddlers Convention, Alleghany Planning Committee for the Hillbilly Show and Variety Show, Alleghany Chamber of Economic Development, which is the Mountain Heritage Festival, Alleghany Ag Advisory Board, and that's the Fair and Pumpkin Festival, and then to Alleghany Wellness Center for the triathlon event they just established this year. So that's addressing the grants that were delivered during the 3-month period. Then at the bottom there, our meeting segments of when those dates were met this past quarter. And then flipping over to the second page, that would be addressing the fact that we've got a term ending in November of Shirley Richardson, and she's addressed that she would be interested in remaining on the TDA board if that was the wishes of the commissioners. And then also I put in there the current terms of the remaining board members and when those ending dates are, which Bill Nilo is 2024, John Camartin picking up the Charlie Scott's term will take to 2024, and myself, which I'll be through next year, 2023. Just below that, we had a resignation on the board this month of Jeff Smith, and with Jeff coming off the board's recommendations to this board are 4 names there below, and those individuals have not been contacted, but they're the ones that were just recommended by our board. So, any questions?
Questions?
Of the overall report, Mr. Chair?
Sir?
Yes. I will direct all my questions to the chair, which he could ask the questions to you, Mr. Mason. And the reason for that, you should, anyone questioning that, you should review the mid-July meeting of this year. Right now, according to the Department of Treasury, North Carolina, they view that the county commissioners supervise the TDAs. They do not have any direct involvement. I have an email from that to that effect going back April of last year. So my question, Mr. Chair, I have asked for the minutes and supporting documents, but I have not received them since May of this year. Now, I note that under the current report that is given, they are paying the Chamber of Economic Development $3,000 a month, and it's my understanding that is for administrative support to the TDA. That's $36,000. I would like to know why I have not been receiving the minutes and the supporting documents at this time, sir.
We produce the minutes that he's
So
asking for.
they're in the finance office.
Right. It's a matter of
They're in the
walking there
finance
and getting-
office in a book just like this.
I have asked for a copy to be
Okay.
placed in my box, sir.
We'll be more than
And
happy to get those
I
copies
would
for you.
appreciate it if a copy of the minutes and supporting documents would be placed in there so that I do not have to go to my time and expense to make those copies.
I will be more than happy to get that for you, and I'll have that put in your box on every meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Not a problem.
Also, on the members that are coming through on the nominations, how does Elizabeth Roop and Amy Lucas meet the qualifications as specified in the statute by the state of North Carolina, Mr. Chair?
You're going to have two, you have three individuals. Clarification for, we have to have at least 2 members collecting occupancy tax and 3 members promoting tourism. Okay, those can be one and the same.
How does Amy Lucas meet these requirements, Mr. Chair?
The only reason Ms. Lucas is on the list is because that was someone we recommended. Does not mean that she meets the qualifications. It's just a recommendation from the committee as an individual who sat on that board before and has done a good job, and she's willing to serve again. That's it, period.
We've been down this road a time or two, and I remember getting emails from the School of Government clarifying some of this some time back. Most of you people can qualify basically for both jobs, in a way.
And
You know.
if someone collects Oxby tax and they're also promoting tourism, they can act as one individual in each one of those categories. Now, basically, the responsibility is weighted on the commissioners to make sure that combination happens. Okay. So some of the individuals that were probably addressed, and again, I'll say those individuals were not addressed in person or by phone or contacted. Those are just individuals that we addressed in our meeting as recommendations to this board.
Mr. Smith's coming off, which, was he on the collecting tax side or the advertising side?
I would say promoting tourism would be the
Promoting,
issue.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Comment about these minutes that are so important, and I think minutes are important.
Yes, sir.
But they're provided to the finance officer, I believe you said, in
We
your
update those
report.
After each
Yeah.
activity, we update it, and they're in a file because we keep all the grant request, the minutes, the financial report, and then the agenda in there as well.
I, as a commissioner, have plenty of time, and if I need to, I can go to our finance officer and look through those reports if I think that I need to. And I appreciate
And it's not
you.
difficult for us to do that. We can make a report and drop it into each one of your boxes, and we'll be more than happy to do that.
We get so much stuff dropped in our boxes. The information is provided, and it's there if the commissioners have enough gumption to get up and look for these minutes. Just don't sit back and use this as an attack podium. Just ask relevant questions, and I think you gave very good answers. The information is provided to the county, and the county commissioners are part of that information. Thank you.
My apologies, Mr. Chair. I will ask April Ham for a copy of the subject report from now on so that I can take up the time and energies of a county employee. The reason why I don't go into view is because I like the luxury of viewing at my quarters when I have the time available.
And to your point, and there would be no problem, would electronic be fine to receive it that way?
That'd be perfectly
And,
satisfactory.
Lisa is sitting in the audience today, and we can just add that in your name onto the electronic send that we send out to the members. Yes, sir.
It does meet
Yep.
the requirements of the minutes for, per state of North Carolina.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Yep.
you, appreciate it. Okay, next, Lisa Bottomley. Morning.
Y'all are doing well. I handed out the report, or Drew did this morning, to each member of the commissioners. This is just a highlight report. This does not encompass everything that we do or that we've done. These are just some things I thought might be of interest for you. This is for the year 2022 to date, so it's not fiscal year. It's an annual update for you. Starting with January through May of 2022, just going down through the list of things that we were able to accomplish. We did develop a logo for the new disc golf course and provided a ribbon cutting event. We did do our Alleghany County Visitors Guide, as we always do. It was 68 pages this year. We do sell the ads for that. We write all the content for that. We edit it. We collect or take photos for the publication. This year we did utilize local photography, which was a lot of fun. We did put out information on Facebook and through emails trying to get our local, whether they be professional or novelists, to submit photography, and we were able to use quite a few of those for the magazine. We did include content on Alleghany agriculture, Alleghany health, heritage and culture, Blue Ridge Parkway, New River, fiber availability and access, Alleghany schools, Wilkes Community College and NC Tech paths, Alleghany disc golf course, hiking trails, and 7,000 copies will be distributed through all North Carolina Welcome Centers, surrounding county visitor centers in North Carolina and Virginia, through mailings, our local visitor center, and local businesses. We did mail out 12 initial boxes to our North Carolina Welcome Centers, and since that time, they have requested 9 additional boxes for those, and there's 125 per box. So the word is, of course, getting out about Alleghany County. We do add, January, we begin adding all community events to our calendar housed on the Chamber and Authentically Alleghany websites. We update our Facebook pages daily or weekly or bi-weekly, depending on the time of year and depending on what we're doing. We helped organize the planters and flowers downtown. We ordered and installed new banners for Main Street with the Alleghany branding. We have received multiple compliments on those, that they really do represent Alleghany County well. We work directly with cruising groups to bring them to town and to help our businesses, and we also arrange for the visitor center renovation for a better visitor experience. If you haven't been in there, we have repainted. We've added lettering to the walls to show people where to go if they're looking for something for the parkway or for our local businesses. And we are still in the process of updating the facility, the inside of the facility, just to make for, like I said, a better visitor experience when they come in. June, we did attend the Fiber Fest and provided Alleghany materials to attendees. We also took photographs there, and we'll provide those for the event organizers, and we will use those for our websites and for our social media. In July, we had our 4th of July parade. It was one of the largest crowds that we've had in years. We had several participate. We also provided materials for the Fiddlers Convention. I did attend one day. We also took and posted videos of the event as it was occurring. In August, we did meet with the Agricultural Advisory Board to assist in marketing for the Alleghany Agricultural Fair. We provided 72 welcome packets for the VFW Car Show and also helped post their application for the car show and collected those. We ran radio ads for visiting Alleghany in general with a tagline to come up to the Ag Fair and spend the weekend. September, we had our Mountain Heritage Festival. As you know, in 2020, we were unable to have the festival. In 2021, attendance was down along with our vendor numbers because there was still COVID, and we had a lot of people come down with COVID or people who were just still fearful of that. We still had a great festival. It was just not what we we're accustomed to. But this year, we canvassed the event. We had a young man go around and count the best he could with a counter. So we're estimating that we had around 4,000 people this year. It was a great event. Streets were packed. We had a kids' corner this year. And we had 500 bracelets for that. We kept arm bracelets for them so they could come and go all day for $2. And we were out of wristbands, and we still had an hour to go for the event. So we think that was a huge success. Parents were very thankful for that kids' corner. We also have a chamber booth there, and we distribute Alleghany magazines and Alleghany fall guides, maps, and anything, give out information to our visitors. We had 50 arts and craft vendors, 11 food vendors, and 15 nonprofits. I wish I could take credit for that festival, which I take a little, but I want to just give a special thank you to Casey McGill and Beth Phillips and their planning and creativity, and Brian Edwards for all his hard work on logistics. John Miller, who had to provide a stage for us this year because our old one had some damage, all the volunteers, and I also was able to speak to Agnes Joins at the end, and we do plan on bringing the Possum Queen back next year. Believe it or not, we had several people come up for the Possum Queen pageant. I don't have any experience with that, but we have a lot of people who want that back. So Agnes and I we're gonna talk about that and see if we can't add that back to the festival. October, I did attend one day helping out with the Carolina Classic Fair. That day we had about 35 visitors just stop by. They were asking questions about Choose and Cut, about what's available up here in Alleghany. And if you've ever been to a festival like that, it's hard to get people to stop at something that doesn't give you something or that doesn't have a game. So I thought 35 people within a few hours was pretty good. In October, we do plan on back in September, I just want you to know that we did meet with the organizers of the Hillbilly Variety Show for marketing. We've been working with them. October, we have Trunk and Treat coming up. That's going to be on October 31st. Last year, over 1,000 children came through. I think even over 1,500 children came through. So we're expecting a huge crowd this year. We are still taking donations for candy. The participants are responsible for bringing that, but any donations to kind of help supplement would be greatly appreciated, and you can bring those by the chamber office. In November through December, just some things that we have planned. We will, with the permission of the county, would like to help get the Christmas tree for the courthouse lawn again this year. We will be obtaining the town greenery to go around the lamppost. We do try to coordinate that with the high school, Bottomley Evergreens, with Sean Evergreens to make all that happen. We do have a program planned around the lighting, and I did clarify that with Sparta Lights and Entertainment. Early on in the year, they had not planned on doing a Christmas program, so we do want to try to do something for the community the same night we light the tree. Soon we'll be hanging up holiday banners. We'll have our Christmas parade on November 26th. We will be limited marketing for Choose and Cut. A lot of our farmers have very low inventory, and they've asked us to limit the marketing on that. You do have to call ahead to the farms now, and some of them are only doing 1 or 2 days of it. So we have to take all of that in consideration. And we, of course, will do Small Business Saturday and Marketing Shop Local for the holidays. I do want to bring this up because the TDA did help fund this, but we, in collaboration with the TDA, we entered into a marketing agreement with High Country Hosts, and I just wanted you to take notice of what this has yielded so far. So I do believe it was a good investment. In February, we had Alleghany County ads in Western North Carolina magazines. In April, there was a sponsored article in Our State magazine called The Hidden Gems and Local Secrets in ourstate.com. In June and July, they ran B-roll on WBTV. In August, we ran AccuWeather ads, and they've told me that they'll get us the statistics for that, so I'll report that next time I come around. September and October, we are running 2 billboards, one at I-77 near Charlotte at exit just 0.1 mile north of exit 16, and on I-85 and I-40 near Greensboro west of Highway 421 exit. We've also been on Radio 107.9, and then October we have an article with Our State magazine, Hidden Treasures of Autumn in the North Carolina Mountains. So I really feel like we're really getting the word out about Alleghany. through that. And so I want to thank the TDA for working with us on that. And we do provide the content and the information and the pictures for all of that marketing. We were in Surrey Living magazines. We had ads highlighting music and events. October, November, Alleghany County. Spring and summer, we had ads and articles in Blue Ridge Digest. I do just want to pass these around. It's just not all inclusive, but just some examples. We all know that, of course, social media is very important. Just wanted to report that we had over 630 posts so far this year on Chamber and Authentically Alleghany combined. We use our posts not to market the Chamber at all. We use them for events, for our Chamber member businesses, for Alleghany County, Sparta, and all of our Alleghany assets. Our Chamber page reached over 53,415. Over 53,415 and had 245 new likes this year. Authentically Alleghany reached 18,000 and had 140 new likes so far. By the end of October, we will have sent out 40 e-briefings or newsletters, and those highlight our events and community information. With TDA funding, Alleghany County will continue to have a half-page ad in the annual Blue Ridge Parkway Traveler Guide, and 300,000 copies are distributed. Alleghany County is a gateway community to the Blue Ridge Parkway, so this is an extremely important publication for us to be involved in, so I want to thank the TDA for that. The ad will contain a summary of Alleghany assets, contact information. We are using a local photo by Police Officer Chris Hash for that, and it will also include the TDA logo. Visitor packets we distribute through the Visitor Center, 300 plus. Visitor packets are given out at events, which is 500 plus, and we also provide packets to any groups who are coming into Alleghany County or short-term rentals here located in Alleghany. I won't go over all the numbers for the Visitor Center. You can see those there. Those are people who just come in wanting visitor information. They're looking to move here, or they're looking to just find something to do. We've had a lot of outdoor interest this year, hiking, river. On your right, Chamber member related. We currently have 303 active Chamber members, so that's a really strong number for us. And we've had 13 ribbon cuttings this year for our local businesses. We've purchased new software to enhance the community calendar and the membership page. TDA helped fund the startup costs of that, and we are partnering with Wilkes Community College Small Business Center for our spotlight businesses. They will have a display over at the college so that other people can see. The next page is just important to me, anyway, that you know that we are also very involved in the community. And there's a list of the boards that I am currently on and active in. The related activities for that, we do presentations at the high school. We go talk to students. We participate in other community events like Sheriff's Safety Day, and also I'm participating in the Leadership Alleghany, which will run through the end of this month into November. Below that are the marketing and tourism related boards that I am on. Those related activities, you can see some of the conferences that I have attended this year. And coming up in October, I will attend the Carolina Association for Chamber Executives Conference, which also, they also do a lot of sessions on county marketing with that. I do want to point out one quick thing before I leave. In April, I did attend the Carolina Chamber Executives Conference, and I was able to do a presentation on Alleghany and the Alleghany branding and how important it is that our branding really demonstrate our way of life, which is what I do believe, you know, like the banners you see with the cows and the fish and the river and the parkway. I truly believe those do represent Alleghany County and our people. And so I've tried to stay very consistent with that. And our messaging is that we appreciate who we are. We like that we are, you know, small, but that we are growing within ourselves. We love that we have a quiet solitude, that we have more cows than people. All of that's important to the people of Alleghany County. And actually what draws people to Alleghany County. It's not that we have everything under the sun, it's that we are who we are. And so I think that just speaks highly of us and our people. And in closing, I just want to say, Michael, it's good to see you. And if everyone could please keep our mayor, Wes Brinegar, in your prayers. Any questions for me?
I'm on this board, and I just want to recognize Lisa. She stays so busy. Obviously, you can see all that they've been doing. No grass grows under your feet.
Thank you, Michelle.
Anybody else? Michelle, appreciate it. Good job.
Lisa.
Excuse me.
That's okay.
Lisa, yeah, you're right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Education Foundation, Melissa Bastel, Susan Nilo.
Morning.
Morning.
We're excited to be here, just to be quite honest. We've got some great things going on with the Educational Foundation, and we wanted to share some of our good news and just kind of talk to you a little bit about some of the growth that we're seeing with the Educational Foundation. So we are, for the first time, the Educational Foundation has full-time staffing, and we're thrilled to be that staff, just to be honest. I am the executive director, and Susan is the assistant executive director, and we keep full-time office hours there at our office, and I'll talk to you about that in just a minute. But I want to introduce myself, and I wanted Susan to introduce herself. Most of you are familiar with us, but some may not be, so I am newly hired person, but I was with the Alleghany County school system for 30 years and retired recently in June. I was an educator for 24 of those years, Spanish educator, and then moved into administration where I was an assistant principal and then principal at Alleghany High School, and then moved to Piney Creek. Enjoyed every one of those years that I spent in the school system. 100% of that because of students. And it made me a little nervous to think about retirement, but in this capacity, it was just the perfect bridge for me, and I'm just very thankful to be here.
I am Susan Nilo, for those of you that don't know me, and I am not as recently retired. I've been retired for over a year now. And in February, I started working with Karen Lees, who had expressed her desire to retire as a volunteer, basically, for the Education Foundation for over 25 years, learning her part of keeping the foundation going, the financial part of it. I was a career educator all in Alleghany County. I had the privilege of working most of those years for Alleghany County Schools, and my last 5 years for Wilkes Community College here at the Alleghany Center. So like Melissa said, we're very excited to be there. This is an opportunity for us to continue in education, but not with the school system or the college, but to continue to support our students who want to go on and continue their education and receive credentials after high school.
So we wanted to start by just sharing our mission statement, and that's we stay within our mission statement and all the decisions that we make. It's a pretty broad mission statement, but as donors donate money for scholarships to the foundation, we feel very responsible to steward that money the way that they would like to see us handle that. So the mission for the Alleghany Educational Foundation, it is a nonprofit corporation that secures and distributes financial resources primarily to provide scholarships to enable students in the Alleghany County schools to pursue post-secondary educational opportunities and to enhance educational programs of Alleghany County schools. And one thing that I would like to add, this is something that this was Susan and I were beneficiaries of scholarships when the Educational Foundation started back in 1985. But we have progressed, and we feel like we are trying to support all types of students, not just students going to four-year college or university, but students going into trades. There are scholarships available for trade students and in a myriad of areas. So just wanted to kind of talk about that, about our mission statement and have the ability to be able to help students. And we're so thankful that our board supports us in that. We do have a location in town. It's in between Charlie's Country Store and Life Store. We're so thrilled to be in town. We're getting out, walking around, and meeting people each day, and trying to form some relationships in town. But that's where we're located. We do keep office hours from 9 to 1 Monday through Thursday. However, we are basically there 8 to 5. Unless we're out doing something within the community. But come by and visit us. We like to have visitors and show off our space. So 9 to 1 for sure. The Alleghany Educational Foundation, for those of you that are not aware, it started in 1985. John Woodruff, an educator here in our county and superintendent and community leader, started the foundation to explore possibilities of encouraging local youth to pursue education beyond the high school level. I think he'd be really happy to see that has expanded, and that is including, he was a farmer, so he believed in the trades. So I believe that he'd be happy to see that we are broadening our scope as far as that goes. In 2022, we had 88 students that received $258,884 to further their education from the Alleghany Educational Foundation. So these scholarships are given. Some are given by individuals who have started scholarships with a purpose in mind for a career. They want to help support students going into certain careers. But that is really our only qualifier when students apply for our scholarship. We have been working to streamline the process for our scholarship application to give donors a good look at who's applying for the scholarship. We've added a couple of questions. We've taken some out that we thought maybe weren't quite so important, and we've streamlined that. So that's one of the things that we've been working on, and it's actually we've been very supported through donors, and the school system's really glad that we've tried to simplify that too. We are currently doing everything we can to let people know that the Educational Foundation is out there, and we're working for kids. And that what we really want when students get to the end of their senior year is we want them to have some choices when they get there. We don't want them to be earmarked to go to a four-year college or to go into a trade. We just want them to be able to decide when they get to the end what they want to do, and we don't want them to be limited by some of the limiting choices that they may have made up to that point. So we're out. We've been to Safety Day, which is an awesome day for our county. It's the first time I've been to Safety Day, and that was a great event. We attended the Heritage Festival. We've been to open houses for students at all of the elementary schools and the high school. We've scheduled parent meetings with senior parents. We have several of those meetings scheduled for the future. Basically just letting people know some of the services that we're providing and the opportunities for students that graduate from Alleghany High School. We are contacting alumni for their stories. We feel like that's one way that our current students can be inspired to, it kind of broadens their horizons. And I don't know if you've been on our Facebook page to look at those testimonials, but it's pretty impressive, just the different professions out there that our students have gone into. Some of them have gone a non-traditional route, but they have achieved great things. One thing that I'd like to mention that I can remember at every scholarship assembly that Minnie Lou Irwin always said is do more than graduate from Alleghany High School, and that kind of resonates in our mind when we think about what we're helping students with. We have been sponsoring some mini grants for our teachers, and we're fortunate to be able to fund every application that was turned in. So we thought that was that's something that we did a while back that we've reinstituted. One thing that we're really extremely excited about is we are building a strategic plan with the Educational Foundation. With the two of us there in the office, we've been meeting with Zach Barraclough that has helped us build our strategic plan. And what we're looking at through the Ed Foundation is to not wait till students are in 12th grade to decide what their future is going to be. Like I said, we want them to have some choices, and so we've got some great things in the works. We're visiting we're visiting some other educational foundations that look similar to ours. I'm not going to say there's one like ours out there, but we're visiting some similar foundations to get ideas of ways to support our youth pre-K through 12th grade. And that's just something that we see as a need, and maybe as an educational foundation, we can bring some of the resources together to serve those students. We have been assisting students with their personal essays. We have some retired personnel, retired teachers who came forward and wanted to help with this, and we saw it as a need. So that's one thing that we've been doing. Actually, we're going to provide another one of those workshops this afternoon before FAFSA night. We're forming partnerships with with Alleghany County Schools and with other local entities. That's one thing that we've noticed that we have, that we are becoming, is people are calling the educational foundations when they have questions, and we don't always have the answers, but we generally do know where to direct their call and to get them the information. So that's something that's pretty exciting for us, is being able to connect with our local agencies, and the ultimate goal being helping students and their parents. I would like to mention that we are working on branding ourselves a little bit and getting information out to donors and helping them know how to help out our students. I don't think that people realize how fortunate they are to have such a community support for students going on to college. Over and over, we hear students that go to college and they express some of the scholarships that they receive locally, and the other students are just, they're kind of in awe that has happened and especially in a community as small as ours, but we're very supportive. I just wanted to mention that we've been working with NAPCO. I went and toured that facility the other day, and I toured that facility a long time ago, but that was pretty impressive. We were having them do some print things for us, and so they designed our folder that'll serve several different purposes, but like I said, we're trying to get information out there, and the correct information, especially to donors and to parents. But we're pretty excited about the folder. But I really want to acknowledge the fact that they donated those folders to us. So that's the kind of community that we live in, and we're just very, and they've always been really good to the schools too. but we live in such an awesome community, and that's where the Alleghany Educational Foundation, that's our roots, is the community support. We have a new logo. I don't know if you've noticed the sign on front of the building, and on the there on the street, but that was designed by an Alleghany High School graduate. And we worked back and forth. He presented to our board of directors, and they were very, very thankful and impressed by that young man. And he is going into, that will be his profession, is he is going into graphic design. He is attending UNC Asheville. So that was exciting for us to see one of our own students graduate and be able to see his work prominently placed in town. Scholarships, that's what we've always done, is scholarships, and we hope to be able to continue to grow and offer more scholarships to our students. It's pretty simple to set up a scholarship if you're interested in that. A couple of different ways. So if you've got your idea of a scholarship that you would like to set up, you basically, it can be in any amount. It can be for 1 year. It can be for 25, 50, 100 years if you want it to be. So Susan and I have actually even started a scholarship that we're calling Lemons to Lemonade, and we're just finding ways to put little bits of money into that scholarship pretty much weekly. So it's pretty simple. All you need to do is call us and we'll get you going the right direction. Anything that we can do to help our students, of course, we will be willing to do that. And that stays within our mission. So future of the Alleghany Educational Foundation, we are exploring initiatives to support the whole child. We are realizing that not all students have parents, both parents, or anyone that is maybe even willing to help them fill out scholarship applications or college applications. Our guidance department at the high school is phenomenal, and they help them get these things filled out. We do want to offer our services as well if they need help with that. I helped a family in my office this past week that didn't speak English. So they came by and I helped them walk through the process of filling out the application. So we're always exploring initiatives to support the whole child, meaning even looking at some social emotional programs to help students. We are continuing to form partnerships with the parents, students, and potential donors. It's pretty awesome when we put these things out on Facebook about our past graduates, and then we have past graduates just drop by our office and set up a nice scholarship for students. That's our goal, is to support students. So it's really nice to be able to sit down and talk with people that have seen those testimonials and set up those scholarships. We're also forming some partnerships with entities outside of Alleghany County. We're traveling to Rutherford County to look at some things that they've got going on and that have been highly successful with their foundation. Hopefully we can share that in our strategic plan with you all when that comes to fruition, hopefully in August. So we are also increasing our donor outreach and trying to find ways to let donors know that we are available and that we are working for them. The nice thing about the Alleghany Educational Foundation, the way that John Woodruff set it up a long, long time ago, is you can set up that scholarship without any administrative costs. So 100% of the money that you put into a scholarship goes right to the student that is recommended for that scholarship, that's kind of a hard thing to find. So that's something that we are very proud of. John Woodruff was proud of, and as we look forward, we try, like I said, we're trying to operate within our mission of supporting students through scholarships and helping the schools in any way that we can that falls within our mission. that we feels like supports those students. So we're super excited about what's going on with the Alleghany Educational Foundation. I'd like a year to come back and be able to share some of the other things, because we do have some things, just right on the brink of happening. We've been meeting with some focus groups within our community, with parents and students and alumni and, who am I missing? School personnel, teachers. We're trying to get information from all the different stakeholders to find out what they need and what students need as we move forward and build our plan. So that's all that I have. Susan, did I miss anything? Okay.
We gave you each a brochure.
Questions? Education Foundations is in great hands with you ladies. We appreciate that. It's a good program. Thank you.
Thank you.
Zach Shepherd, why update?
Morning. Thank you for allowing me to come and present to you this morning. I've got a few updates to share with you. There's a lot of information in these slides and in this packet. So if I run through things and you go back and look and have a question later, you're more than welcome to contact me or stop me and ask away. All right. Okay, so not unlike anything else in any other sector out there, the Health and Human Services sector has taken a big hit since the pandemic. We've seen that the need for mental health services and substance use services has gone up, and we've also seen that a lot of the professionals in that arena are leaving or not interested in providing services anymore. So we've also got new competition in the state with new health plans coming out. Those health plans are hiring a lot of those professionals in these arenas, and so it's creating even more of a strain on the staffing. We're also seeing a lot of wait lists for services now because of these factors. So one of the things that we've been doing at VIA is trying to get on top of this and meet with our providers to see what we can do to help in the situation. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So kind of the heart of our services is our walk-in centers in our communities. These are the centers that anyone can walk in during the day, during operating hours, and they can get services. And here we have Daymark as the walk-in center here in Alleghany. So one of the things we've been doing is increasing our rates. So we're paying more for the services now. That gives these providers opportunities to stabilize their staff and to recruit additional staff. And hopefully the idea would be to boost that income, that salary range that could attract more staff. We're also looking to improve access to same-day care in rural communities, and the majority of our communities are rural communities. And we're incentivizing face-to-face services in our rural communities. One of the things that we found during the pandemic is that a lot of our folks in rural areas don't really care to speak to a TV screen. So we've noticed that, we've taken note, and we're incentivizing that more face-to-face service with folks. And then also expanding access to substance use services. Okay. All right, so as I said, we've increased the rates across our service area, but also to our direct support professionals who work directly with individuals who may have intellectual and developmental disabilities. We're also working with our providers on various strategies for the recruitment and retention, not only just the increased rates. And as I said, incentivizing staffing in the more rural counties. And then we're also working with our provider advisory council to develop strategies, to ask them what's going to work for you guys in helping to address these challenges. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, I wanted to just briefly go over one of the initiatives that we at VIA are working on, but not only VIA, but all of the MCOs across the state have committed to this initiative. So this initiative is seeking to streamline the process when we have particularly children that are in foster care, in need of services, in need of placement and residential services. This initiative seeks to improve that process across the state so as to decrease administrative burden on not only the professionals working on the case clinically, but also the DSS staff who unfortunately get a lot of the brunt of the difficult work that comes with this. So this initiative seeks to standardize that transition of care where a child who is from Alleghany County that is in DSS custody in Alleghany County can go to New Hanover County and get services that they require without having to jump through a lot of hoops. So this would also include a standardized pass-through authorization for children entering residential treatment. We're also working with our partners at Benchmarks to help develop this referral process and to make it a standard referral process across the state, so there's only one referral instead of having to do multiple different referrals depending on where you're going. We're also looking to open our statewide network and reduce or eliminate the need of out-of-network agreements. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Also, just to show you a map here of our embedded care managers at our DSS offices. So the ones in the lighter blue are where we currently have staff embedded at DSS, and the ones in yellow are working on having an embedded care manager. There may be some of those that actually have gotten a care manager now embedded in their DSS office. But one of the things that having a care manager embedded in the DSS office does is it provides an opportunity for DSS staff to lean on that care manager when there are specialized placements and treatments that are needed, especially for children, but also for adults. We have actually been speaking to Ms. Osborne at DSS and talking about doing an embedded care manager here in Alleghany as well. She's interested, and we're going to work on making that happen as well sometime in the future. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Okay, we also have a new escalation protocol for our DSS offices. This means that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, if a DSS director has an emergency situation where we can help, that DSS director can contact us and get somebody on the phone through VIA. Saturday night at 8 o'clock, doesn't matter. They're going to get somebody on the phone to help work with them. Again, raising rates across the board, and that even includes our crisis and emergency beds. Currently, we have 38 crisis beds that are available exclusively to VIA members, and we're working to add 20 more additional beds, and some of those beds may have already come on board now. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So here you can see where our rates went for therapeutic foster care. Therapeutic foster care is one of those services that we have seen increase demand greatly. And so we have actually bumped that up from $97.22 to $175 per day, and our emergency respite up to $360 per day. you know, along with every other agency and sector looking to hire folks, the problem, or not the problem, but the challenge with therapeutic foster care is it's even more difficult to recruit folks because you have to have a family that is committed and willing to provide the services and is dedicated to helping these kids in need. And so that makes that level of difficulty even greater. So we're hoping to improve on that network of therapeutic foster homes, and we're working on that currently, and working on, again, retention rates of these families and opening up new homes and making sure that we have homes in local communities where kids can be served so that they don't have to go so far away to get the services that they need. And then also providing additional support and training to our therapeutic foster care homes. Okay, we can go to the next slide. I'm going to give you just a brief data highlight just to show you some numbers here that are specific to Alleghany County. Here you can see our numbers. These are a little bit older. This is January through March of this year, and you can see the breakdown in services of how many members were served, Medicaid versus non-Medicaid, children versus adults, and then in which population they fall, IDD, mental health, or substance use services. Okay, we can go to the next slide. And here you can see the map of locations where Medicaid members receive their services. As you can see, the majority of folks are receiving their services in county and then some surrounding counties as well with Medicaid. Okay, we can go to the next slide. And then locations where non-Medicaid members receive their services, again, largest number being within county, which is what we like to see, and then some surrounding counties as well. And then care management that we offer at VIA, this is how many members that we had as of May of this year that were involved in care management in Alleghany County, and this gives you the breakdown of the service types that these folks are in. Okay, know I threw a lot of information at you. I'm happy to answer any questions now, or if you have questions later, feel free to reach out to me.
Questions? Any questions?
Good report.
Good report. We appreciate that.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
April Ham, financial update.
Morning.
Morning.
And welcome back, Michael. I passed out the finance report for this morning just before the meeting. Year-to-date revenue, $9,170,027. Year-to-date expenditures, $5,542,821. And then the approved budget of $18,412,892. Year-to-date revenue represents 50% of our projected revenue, but I will remind the board that we have that 2% discount in tax, so a lot of it comes in, and I believe it was around 70% this year, wasn't it, Rita? The amount of tax, yeah, right around 70% of the taxes has been collected. Year-to-date expenditures, that represents about 30% of our expenditures for the year, and timeline of the budget, we're about 29% into the year with the budget. Bank balance as of this morning, $20,404,948.98. Bank balance as of a year ago, $14,082,643. And 2 years ago, $9,504,779. Net financials for the year, taking into account the revenue and expenditures, $3,717,206. And I did include the unaudited fund balance. I have spoken with the auditors in the past couple of weeks. They're still working on our audit. Hopefully by next month with that report, I will have a date that they will be here presenting the audit to you. but the unaudited fund balance, $129,312. I think most of the tweaks, putting revenue back and things that needed to be put back in last year have been done, unless they find something else that needs to be tweaked. Okay? Any questions about the basic financial report this morning? The second page is updated local sales tax revenue. As of this morning, $243,159.61. A look back to a year ago, we had collected $195,786.07. So it is up just a little bit. Okay. Answer any questions?
Just a great report.
Yes, it is.
I mean, look where we were 3 years ago. Unreal. Thank you and the department for doing a great job. Michael, all of us, everybody chipped in to do this.
Everybody chipped in.
Yeah.
That is correct. Thank you.
Stand right tight. Moving on
All
down
right.
to general business. April Ham again, general fund budget.
I have a general fund budget amendment number 2 for the year. This is actually ARPA/COVID grant money that is going to the jail. That's hospital expense, actually, for the inmates. A couple of computers is included in this, and then capital expenses is an air purification system provided. Nick Hawks actually provided me all the information for this.
Motion. A motion here, a second.
Second.
Motion second. Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. Go right ahead.
And then general fund budget amendment number 3. This is actually for DSS. This is also ARPA money, SNAP ARPA money. And it's actually for a little bit of renovations for DSS. And Lisa's here if you have any questions about it. We're going to put this $10,149 in a capital expense line for them to do the renovations that's been approved.
A motion.
So moved.
Second.
No discussion. All in favor? 5-0. Go right ahead.
And the third thing I have this morning, back in April, I brought a list to the board of outstanding checks that we had dating back to 2017. This will clear out those outstanding checks. We have about $21,719.22 to pay out directly to folks. We sent out those letters after the board approved this back in April. We sent them out in April and May. But we will be paying $3,370.89 to NC Cash for unclaimed property. Those are the ones that we didn't hear back from. The total of $25,090.11, we are going to pay this out of the unappropriated fund balance because it was not something that was budgeted for the year, and I have had the conversation with Michael about this.
Motion.
Move.
Second.
Second.
Favor?
And this will be a yearly process from here on out of clearing those out. All right?
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Andy Murphy, Lions Club, roofing project.
I don't know if any of you guys has been up by the Lions Club, but shingles on the roof blowing off, coming off, really looks bad. So I did have 2 quotes done on the roof. One was Twin County Roofing, the other was Joe Campbell Roofing. Twin County came in at $99.87. Joe Campbell came in at $10,325. We're kind of needing to get this done fairly quick before the weather does change. Twin County said they actually could possibly get to it by the end of the week, and Joe Campbell was anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks out. I have talked to them. They've never been another roof on this Lions Club Pavilion. This is since it was built originally.
Certainly needs replacing. Bad need of it.
And best of my knowledge is, I did talk to David on Friday. He had talked to Dana Services, and they are going to, didn't give me an actual number, but they are going to help. He said definitely. It would be more of a reimbursement type deal. We would pay for it, and then they would reimburse us the money, is what I was told on Friday.
But what, $300 difference in the two, 3 to 4?
Yeah, $300 to $400. Only difference was Joe Campbell was out 3 to 4 weeks, and the guy can get to it possibly by the end of the week.
I think that's pretty doable for him. I mean, is
Yeah,
anything that he-
yeah, because when I called them both same day, he said that he could possibly get to it towards the end of the week.
Yes, go ahead, Joe.
Do you have any reservations on either company's ability to perform?
No.
In accordance with North Carolina statute, I make a motion that we accept the lowest bid.
Lowest bid is a month out. Let's keep that in mind.
No.
Other way around.
No.
Oh, excuse me.
Joe Campbell was 10/3/25, and he's one that's 3 to 4 weeks out. Twin County was 99/87, and he's one that can actually start on it towards the end of the week.
Got a motion? Your second, got a second? Any further discussion?
Mr.
All-
Chairman.
Hang on, Mr. Carter.
I just want to clarify the funds. You indicated that the state was going to provide some amount. Do we know
Some
an
amount, I
amount?
do not know amount,
where's the
and
rest
David
come-
did not know amount.
Where does the rest come from if they don't provide the full amount?
Well, the agreement that I understand is we would do half, and Lions Club would do half, and I know the Lions Club had a member that was going to take care of the Lions Club half, so.
That's what I would like to address is the money that has been allotted for in the budget is an estimate at the time of the budget. But if I am correct, and I know April is here, she has the line, I think there is around $5,000 within that specific line item to apply towards the funding. And the reimbursement part, I haven't, this is my first knowledge of that. But if the board is going to award the total, which is $9,987, if I'm reading that correctly, that amount of money doesn't exist in the line item for that purpose. So if that's the case, one of two things will occur. You'll overrun that line item until you receive some type of reimbursement, or you amend it, which obviously you don't have the appropriate information to do that at this point. But I don't know what the status of the Lions Club's ability to provide the half amount of the funding is. I don't know where that is.
What I was told was that they have got $5,000, is what I was told in one of the meetings that we had up there.
So is the goal to provide one check to the contractor and do it in a reimbursement, or is it to allow for the money that has been identified within the county budget, do one check, and then the Lions Club provide the additional half?
Mr. Chairman, I think I can clear this up. I will withdraw my motion, and I will make another motion that we approve the low bid contingent upon the Lions Club providing the additional funds above the $5,000 appropriated in the county budget.
And that basically identifies within the terms of the agreement.
Motion second, any further discussion? Bobby?
And this was advertised locally. We didn't get any local people to bid on this?
What I had done was, which Joe Campbell had bid before, because he had to redo his bid because the price changes. All the other local bids that we had at that time was already higher than the Joe Campbell. I had a contact on roofing, so I did contact them, and they didn't do shingled roof, and this guy was recommended by them. And he was actually up here in the county measuring another job and went and measured the Lions Club and priced this out, and everything's apples to apples on as far as what they're pricing.
Thank you.
A motion and a second, any further discussion? If not, all in favor? You, John?
Oh, no, I'm
Oh, okay.
voting.
5-0 then, right? Thank you, Randy. Public Services, Ms. Drew Todd. Just everybody's read over that. Bobby?
This is just for information at this time.
Yes.
Yes.
This will be addressed in next year's upcoming budget cycle. Okay. Proclamation in honor of Senator Deanna Ballard Day.
I think everybody knows that today at 1 o'clock at the Dalton Annex Building, we're going to have a ceremony proclamation in honor of Senator Deanna Ballard. And I believe we'll break here if we're still in session at 12:15 and just reconvene up there at 1 o'clock. But I would ask all of us to attend.
Yeah, hopefully everybody can be present. Thank you, Bobby. Mark lease revision, Ms. Heather Klein.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I think we
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Make the motion,
Glad
hear a second.
Second.
Motion, 2 seconds, all in favor? 5-0. Heather Klein.
So I can't remember exactly what meeting it was. Maybe 2 meetings ago, we voted on the lease with the health department. And the lease was in your packet. I don't think anybody saw any changes or anything else that were in it. However, Drew had been contacted by the health department for a change in the lease. I think this is something that they've been working on with other counties. At least that's what it appeared from the messages that she had received. The question, or what they wanted to update, was about the ability of funding for them. So they work under money that they're receiving from the state, and the concern that they had in regards to the lease is it didn't have anything for basically an out for them if something happened with that state funding. If they lost their funding, then they're not going to be able to continue to pay the lease on the building where they're located currently. So their suggestion for changes was a paragraph in regards to if they lost that state funding, that lease would terminate. They said immediately. That's what they're asking for, and you know, that's something that you guys would consider. I'm sure Michael has some comments maybe about that. You know, from a legal standpoint, obviously, if they have no funding, I'm not really sure how they're going to continue to pay a lease when they have no money. Although I understand that it is state regulated, that we have the health department. Either we as the county provide it or the state provide it, and currently the state is providing that, and that's where the funding is coming from.
Clarification, on the agenda, it references Daymark, but
Oh.
you're talking about the health department.
Sorry, I meant Daymark. Sorry.
More for discussion.
Vote on that?
I don't know, Michael, do you want to make any comment about it? And
The only thing that I would mention is and I assume it's a standard template that they're putting in every agreement they have, but when they say that they can end it immediately, they can call you today at 2:00 and say, we're done. Okay, that's fine, but there are going to be costs associated with that ending point. Who's going to pay those? Because the language identifies that they have no further liability. If they do it mid-month and you haven't got your power bill, or you haven't got your water bill, you haven't got those associated bills, who's that? Who covers that? Where does that end go, would be my question.
Is this something that we need to decide today, or is it something that we need to do some research into to find out what these closing costs might be if it was to shut down? There again, this is something that's handed to us without being able to do any research. I think you and Heather need to spend some time with this.
I would agree too. I don't necessarily have an objection in regards to what they're asking, because I understand where their funding's coming from. It's just a matter of, for us at this point, determining on something we've already voted on to approve, and they wanted a year-to-year lease, or at least our auditors wanted a year-to-year lease, and they were okay with that. But this is after the fact, and I don't really know if they had any additional input on the lease, or if it was just something we approved because we've had it before, just to continue it, and now they realize, uh-oh, wait a minute, it didn't have the language that we're updating with everybody. So I would agree that I think we should look at it and determine what would be best in regards to that language, especially at the end, which was their liability, for not necessarily continuing the lease, but for bills that might still be outstanding, and who's obligated and how we would determine that. So if we're going to update the language, we should probably figure out exactly how we want to update that.
With that being said, I would make a motion that we table this till General Counsel and the county manager have had time to do some research.
Okay. Motion and second to table. All in favor? 5-0. Rita Miller.
Morning.
Morning.
Before I do the consent agenda, I just wanted to say on the Education Foundation's website, a nice video of your own Delayla Carranza Orduna, who started out at the tax tag and finance specialist, now promoted to the finance office. She has a video on there, so nice little video. I wanted to point that out. So, consent agenda, if you have any questions.
Have any questions?
I have none, Mr. Chairman, and I would recommend that we approve and make the motion A through F.
A motion to hear a second to approve A through F. Do I hear a second on that? Second, any further discussion? Not all in favor? We need to address G.
Chair, my only question is, do we have a recommendation, or can you make a recommendation?
Yes, all the requirements were met, other than just it being submitted late and per his
It's
letter.
because of hospitalization from an elderly client
That is correct.
or citizen. I'll make a motion to accept, Mr. Chair.
Got a motion, I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you.
You want to stay longer?
Any manager comments?
Chairman, I'll just go by the agenda. You have your September building inspection report inside your attachment. Encourage everyone to look at that. Besides that, again, I just want to thank everyone for thoughts and prayers over the last weeks. I appreciate that. I appreciate the reception of getting back. And, you know, sometimes when you get out of the pool and get back in, it's a little cold. So I appreciate the opportunity to sit here with you and get my feet wet again. So thank you.
Certainly welcome you back. Any commissioner comments? Commissioner Mark Evans.
Just a couple of things. We did have a joint meeting with the school board last week, and held it in the auditorium, and basically got an update on their current grant. They got a lot of work ahead of them to work through that for the new facilities, the high school, and talked about some needs there at the auditorium that we have. And, of course, gave us an update on their facilities, sports facilities, and they are getting a new track and football field. And that will be exciting as a former football player there, to seeing those kids and knowing what that will do for, I mean, they visit these other schools, and I know there are different facilities at different schools, but some of the nicer ones when they come back home and some of the things we have here will produce good athletes and very good children, but I think what that will do overall for their mentality and their thinking that, you know, we're trying to do what we can to look out for them, we'll just put a little bit more spring in their step and maybe encourage them to go visit the ladies at the Education Foundation and keep going at that. So, meeting. The pool discussion earlier, I didn't chime in, but I just would like for the folks to know that personally, I'm indifferent, but at this position, I think it's, my general definition for government is to do for the people what they can't do for themselves. And this is certainly an area that no group could get together and do. Now, there was a rewarding effort for the splash pad that was mentioned. Will be beneficial, and I'm sure the kids will enjoy it, but for a facility that's been shown today, whether that will come to realize it here locally or not, you know, one thing that I've seen in almost 8 years is it's amazing at the amount of monies, either personally or publicly, when there's a strong a plan, solid plan, and good solid local support, and things are identified there that basically you could put it out and money tends to come. Things tend to happen. Whether that will be the case here, I don't know, but I think it would be very unwise not to try to pursue, especially with the seed money that basically is there. And I think pursuing something like the presentation that was shown will be a very nice addition to the county, and I certainly would support that conversation. However, I'm not counting, but I have about 2 more meetings left myself, so I would hope that the future board, whoever lands here, would continue that kind of thought process and the engagement to at least encourage it until it either comes to realization or it doesn't, but there needs to be an effort made. So I just wanted to chime in on that. Thank you. That's all.
I'd like to also welcome Michael back. I know that we've had conversations, and I've made a point that my beard was bigger than yours, longer than yours, and it was until Saturday night. But just to let you know, Saturday night they told that they didn't need me for Gunny Claus. Sunday they amended that, so I'm starting to grow again. All right. Would like for everyone's prayers for Mayor Wes Breniger. For those that are not aware, Wes had a major heart attack, I believe Thursday, and still in Baptist Hospital, had a rough night. It is substantial. He needs our prayers, and his family needs the support. So our prayers are with you, Wes. As Mark said, we had a meeting with the with the superintendent of schools and the Board of Education, very informative. We have some challenges coming up there in the future. I would like to note that my lottery money was part of that $47 million that we got out of the lottery. It's nice to know that all that money I've spent is going somewhere and going to hopefully drop in locally. I agree with Mark. The pool, this is a discussion we need to have. Think about it, talk about it, because it is a nice amenity. I remember whenever the pool came in, it was nice, because before we would go to Elkin, riding the old activity bus and put up with that. But it's the public has got to have their say. And I believe, and I agree with Mark with this, Alleghany is a tremendously giving county. Until we tell the citizens of Alleghany County there's a need, they don't know that there's an opportunity to donate. So if we open it up, impact on the county purse would be minimal, I'm sure, but we will never know until we do it. I'd like to echo Bobby's comments. It's hard to make a decision whenever you're given information in a meeting. We need to review. I've requested in the past that if handouts are going to be provided to the county commissioners, that they be included in our pre-meeting package so that we can look at them. And I believe that that is something that we need to look at again and stress that if you're going to hand out a handout, give it to us in advance, so that we can look at it, and if we have any questions, we can draw out of it. Early voting will start Thursday. It is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. I have heard all my life that this is the most important vote that we will ever make. And now I'm beginning to believe it more and more every day. But whenever you make your vote, you need to make an educated vote. Educate yourself. Go out there, look, ask questions. I know I've had a number of questions here recently, and I'm not even on the ballot. So it really concerns me whenever the citizens are to the point they don't know who they're voting for. So please do that, but vote. Even if you are going to make an uneducated vote, vote. There's a lot of people that have suffered for your right to vote, so at least honor that. Other than that, Mr. Chair, that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree, everyone needs to get out and vote. I think a lot of people don't understand what one-stop voting is, and it doesn't matter which precinct that you're registered in, you can come here and vote at the Board of Elections, and they have long hours. I believe 7:30 at night is when they close. So, and they also have one Saturday where you can vote. So please get out and vote. And also the trunk or treat is coming up on Halloween Day. So bring the goblins out and for some enjoyable time. Welcome back.
Start off with, glad to see Michael sitting there again. Glad that he's able to attend. I think his work schedule will be around 3 days a week, starting out, and he'll build his strength up, and we'll have him here more often. I think I've been through this. The bricks are in at the Veterans Park for Phase 2, and we're starting on Phase 3, so we're looking for new people that want to purchase a brick. They would be in by this time next year. The Charters of Freedom, they're finished. We have a little cleanup to do down there to get rid of some stuff that the brick mason left. That'll be, I'm sure, done before Veterans Day. And as Mark and John mentioned, we had a good meeting with the Board of Education the other night. Very informative, and I think even Mr. Bamberg was there, and everybody had a big smile on their face when they had $47 million mentioned. That's the biggest thing to hit this county in a long time, or possibly forever. The Anna Ballard's proclamation will be here in a few minutes, be 1 o'clock down at the Annex, Richard Dalton Annex building. I would encourage everyone to get out and vote. Like John said, make yourself educated on what the people that are running, what they're standing for. That's a very important date. And like Michelle said, this one-stop voting starts Thursday, and it's very easy to come in and vote. You vote in this room. If you're unable to get out of the car, they'll come out to you and let you vote outside. So with that, Mr. Chairman, that's all.
Thank you, Bobby. Echoing the same sentiments, comments. Glad to see Michael back in the saddle, and I just want to thank Drew and April and the rest of the crowd for keeping everything moving, and everything went along good. Certainly wants to remember Wes Brenninger in our prayers and our thoughts. He needs our prayers and our thoughts. Trunk or treat, Michelle helped do that last time, and that's a fun night on Main Street. I think it starts at 6 on the 31st, and they encourage all the parents to bring their kids out and enjoy that night. And the pool project, that's a nice pool, a nice facility, and I, thinking back as John made the comment there about the Duncan pool back in the 70s, a nice facility, and it was. I guess it was the Cadillac facilities back at that time in this whole area up here. But everything gets outdated, and it's the quake and so forth. But I think I'd like to see this pool project move forward and get all the help we can get so we don't have to burden the taxpayers with very little borrowed money, if any. I think there's money out there that we can pursue and give it a little time and make that come together. Schools, had a good meeting with schools, and I really like our plan. It's a money-saving plan to put that facility in the parking lot in more ways than one. There's very little grading to do. You think about if you move the whole complex to a new location, you got ball fields and all this other expensive money to spend to make all that come together and work for the county. So it's a good plan and a good project, I believe. Certainly get out and vote. Starts Thursday, like everybody's mentioned, early one-stop voting, and get out and vote and vote your conscience. If you aren't in church, make church part of your weekend. You'll come away feeling better about yourself. Do you have anything else? Taylor, Michael, Drew?
Recess.
At this time, we're going to recess this meeting, and we'll reconvene at 85 East Whitehead Street promptly at 1 o'clock. Thank you.